Well, hey friends, and welcome back. Today, I want to spend the day together as we do a big old declutter of my entire home. And this is something that I like to do every 3 to 6 months or so to refresh and to reset my space, to make sure that the things that I own, I'm still actively using and loving. And particularly right now, during the holidays, there are often a lot of new things coming into our lives. So I love that idea of being able to take action ahead of time to kind of clear space for them. And that way our homes don't become cluttered or overwhelming, and instead, they're places of peace, of rest, and of tranquility. So that's the plan for today. I want to go through and to declutter our entire home, really paying special attention to some areas that get more use at this time of year. And I'm ready, I'm excited. Decluttering is one of those things that is just so rejuvenating to me. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button below for more simple and intentional living videos coming at you twice a week. Let's get right into this. All right, well, let's get started in the heart of our home, the kitchen. This really is our most frequently used room in the house, and as such, it's where clutter tends to accumulate the most quickly. So a couple things that I want to focus on in here. First off is our junk drawer. It really is quite disorganized at the moment, so I just want to give it a bit of a reset, and then also to see if there are things in there that don't belong. I also want to give our hosting supplies a look over. That drawer really is just a mess right now, and there is a lot that we have kind of preparing for a party that we're going to be hosting on Friday, which is super exciting. So a lot of that stuff we do need, but it's just causing me stress thinking about that cabinet at the moment. And then also our pantry too. There's so much food in there right now. I have a sneaky suspicion some of that food has gone stale or gone bad, so I really want to go through that and again, just organize the whole thing because it cannot continue the way that it is right now. And then just generally, I want to do a quick sweep of all of our drawers, our cupboards, see if there's anything else that we're not using. I'm just going to pop on some music for a bit of motivation as we declutter. Let's do this. Oof, okay, this definitely needs some love. So I just started with going in and trying to reset the organization of this drawer. There were a lot of things that had been added to this drawer that didn't belong, and quite a few things had moved out of their original location. So I just tried to put everything back where it belonged, give things that didn't have a home. Then I also spent some time testing out all of our pens and pencils, just going through them one by one on a blank sheet of paper to make sure that they worked. Well, as expected, we found a number of things in the junk drawer that just didn't belong that we can go ahead and declutter. The first thing being a number of pens and Sharpies I found that didn't work. That was actually something that I noticed a few times lately. I'd go to grab a pen from the drawer and it just wouldn't work, and so I really wanted to make a point of going through each of our pens individually and testing them. Also going to be getting rid of these 2 sets of red labels. I have a little Dymo label maker, which I love, really helps me to keep things organized. But that set that I got came with, I think it was like 3 black labels and 1 red. And I pretty much only ever use the black ones. I don't see myself using the red in the future, so I think it just makes sense to get rid of those. And I also found some unused ribbons and tape that I'll be decluttering. This little baggie with string in it. I think that came with the Lord of the Rings poster that we have in the living room, but that's all hung up now, so we just don't need the string anymore. And then these 2 lights were leftovers from Christopher's Halloween costume. He made this really cool kind of like hand for Iron Man. He went as Iron Man for Halloween. It was so epic, but then he was left with these 2 lights at the end of it, which it's been 2 months now, and I feel like if we haven't found a use for them yet, we're not going to in the future, so I don't think that we need to keep these. Last but not least, as often happens in junk drawers, I have a little pile of trash that just it just accumulates in there. Okay, well, that's the first drawer taken care of, but we still have a number to go. So next up, let's tackle our hosting supplies. So this was a bit of a tough one. We have a lot of things in there right now that are specifically for our Christmas party that's going to be in just a few days. So they're not going to be in there long term, but they are taking up a lot of space in there at the moment. That being said, there were a number of items that I was looking at and just kind of realized that either they were in the wrong place, so we're going to be putting them away, or just that we don't need. And on the don't need side of things, we have an empty candle, some packaging, this plastic cutlery set. And this next one is a little bit different. I don't want to do your traditional decluttering with these, but instead I want to try upcycling them. So I have 4 packs of these fun little gold stars, and I think that they're supposed to light up and just be kind of like a beautiful lit garland. But the problem is, number 1, the lights on them are not very bright at all once you put the battery pack inside. Number 2, these stars are super delicate, and so they keep just falling off. They are just this really beautiful gold metal though. So my thought was maybe we could just intentionally remove them all from the light string, and instead of trying to make it this pre-lit garland, we could kind of string them up and just make a beautiful kind of garland that doesn't light up that's made out of these gold stars. I don't feel like it would be too challenging to do, and it could be a really cool effect. So I guess yes, in their current form I will be decluttering them, but I do want to keep and to repurpose them. Then everything else that I pulled out of here are things that just don't belong in this cabinet, so I want to take a few minutes right now just to put them away. It's still a little bit messy, but it is honestly looking so much better in here. The one thing I realized though is that I have so many candles and I just need to start using some of them up. I don't want to declutter them because I love candles and I use them, but I have got to stop buying more before I burn through these. Okay, well, we're making some good progress here, and really quick, before we tackle the pantry, which is the other big kind of problem spot that I've identified in our kitchen, I want to do a quick pass over of all of the rest of our drawers and cabinets here in the kitchen, just to see if there's anything else that we might be able to let go of. So I found a couple things by my tea station. The first was this large empty tea tin that was just taking up a lot of room in the cabinet. And I think I have 12 of these little gold jars. These are all a part of an Advent tea calendar that I've been doing this year, which has been really fun, but it's left me with all of these little gold jars. But I was thinking a really fun use for them could be one idea for a Christmas gift that I was thinking for my sister-in-law, and then my brother-in-law's girlfriend, because she's going to be joining us for Christmas this year too, is they both love tea. So I was thinking I could just pick a few of my favorite teas and create these little sample size jars for them to have. It could be a cute little Christmas gift for them. So again, this is one of those things that I'm kind of decluttering, but more so just trying to repurpose. Once I finished with the tea cupboard, I just continued checking all the rest of the cabinets and drawers in our kitchen, taking time to organize each as needed. Just a couple more things. First, we have an extra Clean Canteen bottle cap. This reusable bag that just doesn't seal shut anymore, so it's not all that useful. And then finally, I just have 4 glass straws. I recently ordered a new pack of glass straws. They came in all these fun colors, but I think there were 12 of them, and I'm just one person. I don't need that many. So I just wanted to declutter a few that I wasn't using as much, so I wouldn't have a ton of excess inventory on hand. I think that wraps up everything for the kitchen. I'm really happy with everything that we've decluttered so far, but next up, let's move on to the pantry. So for the pantry, I began with just trying to put things back on the appropriate shelf for the things that kind of had a clearly defined space that I knew were still good. Then anything that I had a bit of a question about or that I needed to sort out and organize with a little bit more room, I just brought it over to the island so that we'd have more space to work with and so that I could kind of see everything clearly. Although I did cheat a bit with this one on Christopher's basket since he's mostly the person who manages what we keep in this. And then once I'd emptied out our more frequently used shelves, I moved down to the floor, which is where I like to keep all of my back stock. And in this area, the main things that I was looking for were duplicates, things that I just had too many of. And then also if there were some items that maybe I had been sitting in backstock for quite a while that we hadn't touched and that we could probably declutter. I just rinsed and repeated the process for the final 2 shelves of our pantry. But then with the pantry cleared out, it was time to start going through the items that I'd pulled out one by one and figuring out if I needed to organize them, to declutter them, or perhaps to pass them on. Then I was also able to condense a number of items as well, so I just took a moment to break down those boxes for recycling. I figured there'd be a good bit to declutter in the pantry, but I really didn't figure that there was going to be this much. I really think that this is a bit of a wake-up call for me, and that I really need to be a lot more diligent about making sure that we're eating up the food that we have in our pantry before it goes bad. Because literally half of this is just stuff that's gotten stale. It's not all stale though. The things that I'm decluttering from this category really fall into one of 4 different categories. The first is just empty packaging that we're able to recycle. These were all things that I was either able to decant or to condense, so we just no longer need the boxes for them. Then along those lines, we also have some trash we can throw out. And then by far the largest category, we honestly have so much of this, is just items that have gone stale, they've gone way past their expiration date, they're just no longer good. Or in the case of something like this, it wasn't sealed properly, so even though it isn't past its expiration date, it's still no longer good to be eaten. We have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 14, 15, 16, 18 items that I've just forgotten about and have let go bad. So that's really something that I want to work on going forward. This food waste, it doesn't need to happen. It just kind of makes me sad looking at it. So I'm taking notes, trying to learn my lesson from this. But then the final category, and I think there are 4 items in this, are things that have not yet gone bad. They're still good, but I don't really see myself needing or using them in the next few months, and so I want to donate them to a food pantry while they're still good. Okay, well that's everything for the kitchen, and I'm pretty impressed. We found a lot. I think next I'm going to skip over our dining room. There really isn't that much in there. I don't think that there's anything to declutter, but I do want to give a quick pass over our living room. We have 2 kind of main areas where we like to store things, and I think it would be worth just checking to see if there's anything that we might be able to let go of in there. I'm not sure that there will be, but it doesn't hurt to look. I didn't decide to declutter much in here. We really don't store that much in this room apart from our games. However, I did decide to declutter this one blanket that was pretty worn out. Okay, here in the laundry room, and I do have one item, but also a confession. If you watched my Getting Cozy for Christmas video, you might recognize this garland. I bought this a few weeks ago thinking it would be really beautiful, just kind of draped around our front door. And then I kind of set it to the side the day I bought it and meant to put it up and just forgot to, and forgot to, and forgot to. And so now it is a flaky, crispy mess. I might try reviving it with some water to see if that kind of makes some of these leaves a little bit less crispy, a bit more pliable, so I could actually bring my vision to life. But honestly, I don't have a ton of hope for it at this point. I think that this is definitely past its prime, and we might just end up needing to throw this out. Which makes me sad. I hate wasting money like this, and I just feel bad I forgot about it. So I will try reviving it, but if that doesn't work, then we'll have to say goodbye to it. Okay, but then the bedroom is a room that we like to keep fairly minimal. We just have the bed, a couple of nightstands in here, our chest, not too much else, but I do quickly want to look through our nightstands, make sure all of the things that we have in them are intentional and serving us. Just found a couple things in here. First, I found a single earring back with no mate, bit of trash, and this empty candle. I really do love the silhouette of this candle though, so I'm thinking I might try repurposing this instead of throwing it out. I think that this could be a really cute little plant pot. I have a couple smaller plants that I probably could put in it, so might try repurposing this because I feel like that would be so cute the little plant coming out of it. That way I can still use it, still get value from it, just in a different form. Well, now let's continue making our way through the house. Next up, I want to tackle our master bathroom and my closet. I did do a full wardrobe declutter not too long ago, so I don't think that there's too much that we need to get rid of, but I have noticed a couple items lately that I'm just not using, and it never hurts to check. The bathroom is another one of those high-use areas in our home that I find really benefits from a little touch-up every now and then. So on top of looking through all my drawers to see if there's anything that I could declutter, I also spent some time just trying to organize and reset the space. Okay, so again, I'm honestly just a little bit surprised by how much we were able to find in here. So looking at everything, I'd say the first big category of things that I found to declutter are all these little, are all these little travel size bottles. Honestly, I don't even remember buying any of them, but we have a bunch and I don't think we really need them. I usually just refill the ones that I currently have. So I'm thinking one thing we did do recently was we assembled these little baggies that we could basically give out to people who we might run across, who might be homeless. And I really do feel like some of these could be perfect to include in those. I don't think I've used either this bath gel, the shampoo, the aloe, so I think that it would be a really good idea just to include those in there, and that way, you know, hopefully someone else can get use of them. Then another big category in here is trash. There are just so many like caps and little bits and bobs that come with just the personal care products that we use on a daily basis, but I feel like sometimes we'll remember to get rid of the larger can or the tube or the bottle, whatever it is, when we run out of it. But sometimes things like the caps, the smaller bits of packaging, they just kind of fall through the cracks a bit, so it was good that we were able to remove all of that. Then I also found a number of broken and used up products. These nail files are well past their useful life. Pretty much the entire like sandpapery surface of them is completely gone. And then sadly, one of my favorite hair clips recently broke and I'd been holding onto it. I've even actually worn it a few times, broken, but it started like snagging on my hair, so I think it's time to let it go. And just a couple of other things. We have this diffuser that's pretty much run out of oil, so it no longer scents up the room beautifully like it was intended to. Got some empty products, and we have this old toothbrush holder, which I recently replaced, but looks like I forgot to get rid of the extra one. So I think I'll probably just wash this out and we can donate it. Not too bad for this room though. Now onto the closet. So I did manage to find a few things in the closet, the first of which being the remnants of my Halloween costume this year. I went as Hermione Granger from Harry Potter and I was able to thrift most of the pieces that I needed for the costume. However, they don't fit exactly right, like they fit well enough for a costume. They're just not pieces that I'm going to reach for regularly, so because of that, I'm going to declutter. It's a sweater, a long sleeve shirt, and then a skirt. Then I also found this pair of pants, and honestly, I had totally forgotten that I owned these. I used to wear these all the time back when I worked at Kohl's as an administrative assistant, and then again when I had my marketing job, but it's been multiple years now that I've worked from home and I just haven't had a need for professional clothes. And I don't know if these were hiding somewhere because I totally forgot I even had them, but yeah, I just don't wear them. And also these are a size 0. I don't think I'm still a 0. So not exactly sure how these escaped my notice for so long. I don't know if they were just like hiding in some corner of a box or suitcase somewhere. I don't know, but found them and we're going to declutter them. And then last but not least, I just have a couple of socks with holes in them. No real point in holding on to these, and it's just a little nuisance that I can get out of my wardrobe. And that's going to wrap things up for our closet and for this side of the house. So next, I want to take a look at our front entryway and my office. All right, so in our entryway sideboard, I was able to find quite a bit. First off, we have a bunch of just like little bits of paper clutter, some old wedding invitations to weddings that we've already attended, and a pair of socks, hangers, but this is like baby clothing hangers. I think that this is for a baby shower for a friend that I recently attended. And and then just a few other miscellaneous things. And then the other big thing I found in here is just things that don't belong to us. I have this bin that I use to hold those items so that they aren't scattered throughout the house, they're all in one place, but at the moment it is full to bursting. We have food dishes, books, bags, all kinds of things in there that don't belong to us. So what I want to do right now is just take a few seconds, text the people who those items belong to, remind them that we have them, and then hopefully just make a plan where they can come either pick them up or we can drop them off so we can get them out of the house. We love having people over, but we don't need these things in our house long term. Then in the closet, one of our biggest needs is really just to straighten, to tidy up, and to organize the top shelf in the closet. So I just spent a minute doing that before moving on to decluttering. And I just found a few items in here to declutter. There's an empty box, a pair of shoes, and some returns that I really needed to bring in before the return deadline. Okay, and that leaves us with just one room left. Let's finish things off in the office. And as you can see, this room is a bit of a mess. So let's maybe focus on tidying it up first, and then we can turn our attention to decluttering. Okay, so I know I said I was going to tidy up in here before decluttering and then immediately proceeded to make a massive mess on the floor. You know, sometimes you just need to kind of let things get messier before they get better. So what I basically just did was condense all of the mess here so I could deal with it appropriately. Then I also got out our kind of gift wrapping box. This is where I store all of my extra gift wrapping supplies so I can kind of reuse them over the course of a year. And I really want to go through that box in particular, since I definitely was noticing when I pulled it out this year that it just has a lot of stuff in there that doesn't need to be there. So I want to go through that, streamline that, and then put some of the gift wrapping supplies that we have out on the floor right now currently away. So we'll start with that, we'll organize as we go, and just declutter anything that's left over. Then we can end our decluttering spree with just doing a quick pass over the bookshelf, seeing at least one or two books on here that we can probably move on from. So just finished with this room and I found the most random assortment of things in here. Probably the most random of which is this bag of pipe cleaners. I have no idea why we have them, but I'm probably going to see if we might know some families at church or we have friends whose kids might be able to play with them. Then we have a number of very worn out gift bags. Personally, I am all for reusing gift bags. However, these ones are definitely past their useful life. They're like just super creased at this point. This one especially, it's just it's looking worse for wear. I don't know if I'd feel good about using that for a gift. I also have two books I'm going to declutter. The first is How to Draw Modern Florals. I really enjoyed this book and learned quite a bit from it, but I haven't used it in probably a year now. And I feel like I'm kind of past my floral kick. I was on one for a little while there. So I likely donate this one, and then this is Agatha Christie's Endless Night. I read this one earlier this year and really enjoyed it, but I think I have at least one or two friends right now who I've told them I'd give it to, so we'll go ahead and let them borrow it, read it, and then potentially even keep it. Okay, then we also have this very large kind of mixed media painting of the Eiffel Tower. And for a long time, I loved it. I displayed it in my home, but ever since we redid our bathroom, this was in our guest bathroom before we redid it, I just haven't found anywhere in the house where I really want to put it. There's a part of me that kind of looks at this and sees it kind of being like a previous style that I liked, but not something that I would gravitate towards today. And I have had this for such a long time that it is a bit hard parting with, but just realistically, I don't see a place for it in my house, and it's not something that I would go out and repurchase today. And so because of that, I do think that it's time to move on from this piece. Honestly though, it is really cool, and I feel like someone else will be able to get so much love and value from this. Then lastly, like with the gift bags, I do have quite a bit of gift-giving paraphernalia that just isn't in great condition, so I'm going to be recycling that. All right, well, several hours and many, many decluttered items later, we have reached the end of our decluttering spree. We've officially gone through our entire house, and it is looking so much better in here. Well, except for the mess behind me. Speaking of which though, let's take a quick look at everything we've decided to let go of. So starting off in this corner, we have all the food we'll be getting rid of, a bunch of trash and recycling. This literally takes up like half of the island. Then over here, it's a little bit hidden, but we have the things that we're going to return. We'll be passing on those pipe cleaners. We'll see if we can revive this, but if not, it will be going in the trash. And then we have a number of items here that we'll be either repurposing, passing on to friends. Then over here we have our donation pile, things that are going to be going to the thrift store. Actually, accept that. That's going to a friend. And then finally, last but not least, over here, we have the canned goods that we'll be bringing to the food pantry. It's not too bad for a day's work, and it really does just feel so good knowing that we'll be going into the new year with just a refreshed and kind of edited space. And I really hope that this can motivate and inspire you too, to declutter your home before the new year and just to inject some peace and tranquility into your home. But now I'd love to know, what are you wanting to declutter to let go of before the new year? I'd love to hear about it, so be sure to let me know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, friends, I'm wishing you all an amazing day, happy decluttering, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!